but it is, right? So
I'm calling it now. My next book collaboration's with this guy right here.
With Ricardo, laying it on
We're writing
thick.
the
I
book
love it.
together.
yeah, you get frustrated. Sometimes you don't want to get up in the morning. You don't want to get to work because that's human emotions, and we all have them. It's just how we respond to those emotions.
We're all going through shit. We're not going through the same shit. We're all going through our own shit. But I guarantee you, we're all going through shit.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Counterpunch. Shalene, who do we got today?
Hey, all the way from Venezuela originally, we have an amazing online entrepreneur and a renowned athlete. Everybody, welcome to our ring, Mr. Ricardo Lucien.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you for this space and happy to be here.
Heck yeah! We're happy to have you.
Absolutely. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm actually looking forward to this and, hanging out with you guys for a while and just sharing experiences too.
Heck yeah. Yeah, that's what we do. We make it fun.
Love it.
So, yeah, experiences. Let's just kind of go right in from there, I guess. So, just kind of following you, like I think we discussed, I haven't had a chance to meet you yet in person. So this is really cool. We finally get to sit face to face and chit chat about this. But you definitely caught my eye and seem to have some pretty amazing experiences that for some people may have maybe they would have viewed as a negative way or really kind of went a negative route. And you seem to really kind of went the route of positivity and gratitude. And I know nobody knows what I'm talking about. They're like, what is she speaking on? So Ricardo, kind of give us a little bit of your story if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I was born and raised in Venezuela, and that's where I started all my journey with the sports and everything. And I moved to the US 13 years ago. And the reason why I moved at first is because it's where my story kind of begins. I was shot in my back, and then I was put in a wheelchair. I was a semi-professional baseball athlete at some point, and a drive-by shooting impacted me and put me in a wheelchair, and couldn't use my legs anymore. So that's
Was
a little
this
bit
in
of what
Venezuela or America?
that was in Venezuela. That was in
Okay.
Venezuela. So when I was in that situation, I did some physical therapy there, and I ended up connecting with a super great doctor and physical therapist that lived in Miami. And I made that connection, and I moved to Miami for physical therapy, and I spent there a few months, and those months turned into a couple of years and turned into me going into adaptive sports. So that's where my main kind of shift in my life happened. So that's it. That's
Okay, so you were an athlete, and then this happened, right? Yeah. And then you're now wheelchair bound indefinitely, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but then you're like, you know what? I'm not going to stop. I'm just gonna still do athletics.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And one of the things that helps so much is because I often take all the credit, but it's my family and my friends and people who supported me and were there for me along the way, because it's tough, right? Being running one day and then the next day you're laying in bed not even knowing if you're gonna survive. So always being surrounded by a great environment really, really helped me. And I believe that you create everything in your product of your environment, and that affects and impacts directly your mindset, and that's what leads to everything else. So right away I was just looking to stay active, to keep being an athlete, and then I found wheelchair basketball, and that's been huge part of my life ever since that happened to me, and helped me create a better life than the one that I used to have before. So yeah.
Stop it. Did he just literally say even better than the one he had before?
Oh yeah. Wow, that is incredible. Absolutely incredible. So did you initially have that kind of mindset when you found out that you would be in a wheelchair, or did it take some time for you to get to that place?
It was weird because I never got sad, I never got depressed or anything. I'm very competitive, so I wanted to prove the doctors wrong every time they told me that I was not gonna walk again. I kind of, it was good. I liked hearing that, because I wanted to, go out there and walk again. Of course, they were right? But like for me, going from I wanted to achieve a goal that was pretty high, and then just by trying and going and giving 100% in physical therapists and everything, I ended up going so much higher than that, and that's where I'm at right now, and it's all because of being resilient, persistent, and having that conviction and that confidence. Hey, I'm gonna make an amazing life out of what happened to me. So that ended up happening. I realized that walking is just a movement and it's not anything more than that. And, I use my wheelchair to go from one place to another, just like anybody uses their feet and their legs. So it just changed like that. And
Ricardo, you're literally blowing my mind right now. Like I'm
Yeah.
literally sitting here like, first of all, why are you not a motivational speaker?
Yes.
Number one. Number two, you've what you just said was such a beautiful comment. You said walking's just a movement.
yeah,
So like you brought it down to the most basic, some people when this happens, I've lost everything, I lost my identity, I can't do this, right? They just go down like this never-ending path of negatives and everything they can't do, and my life is over, and I'm wheelchair, and you're literally just like, you know what? It's just a movement, and I can move with my wheelchair. Life goes on.
yeah,
And I don't know if somebody has ever sat you down and stopped you, but I'm just going to tell you that is amazing. The
yeah,
message that you're sending and that our listeners will hear. But even just now, personally,
Yeah.
you just keep on top of it because you keep blowing my mind. I'm just like,
I'm
wow.
gonna die. He's like the modern day Freddie Steinmark over
Ooh.
here. Just amazing. My all American.
Walking's
No, I
just a
appreciate
movement.
that.
I'm okay. Like I'm fine. But you're not just like you really are. You're rocking it out. And so that kind of circles back to a comment you said earlier, like that your life is better now. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, back a little bit to what you were saying is it's simple, right? People like to be victims, people like to complain, and that's human nature, right? So when you take all that crap aside, then you realize that it's not that complicated. It's just things happen, you accept it, you move on, and you make it better. I mean, it's your option to do it that way, or just to be a victim and stay in a bad situation forever. That's just choices. Most people are gonna choose the second one, which is, I'm gonna let myself, let everybody feel terrible for me, and then have that attention in a negative way, and then, poor you and so on. So that's why I don't feel sorry for anybody. And so that's a little bit of what it is. The reason why my life is better right now is because of all the obstacles that I've faced in my life, and having that approach of I'm not gonna let this defeat me, but I'm gonna use it as something that's gonna help me move forward. It's gonna help me grow and accept all those challenges, stepping stones, so that I can achieve better things. So if you wanna have a strong mindset, you need difficulties and you need challenges. It's like a workout, right? You have to lift some weights. In this case, you do it with your mind, your brain, or whatever you want to call it. So yes, I mean, I have a great life because I've faced adversity and I've faced it in the right way, and luckily, I'm blessed to have the right support. So all that combined creates a better mindset, and better mindset turns into a better life and a better lifestyle as well.
That, that's fantastic. That makes sense.
I'm gonna quote you and put it on a poster in my house. Take all the crap and put it to the side. I love that.
Like a daily motivational calendar with your quotes.
Right
Throw it
next to my
away.
Gandhi
Yeah.
poster.
Just throw it away. It doesn't work.
Yeah. So kind of going back to the beginning, how old were you when you were shot in your back?
I was 20. I was 20 years old.
You're
I was an athlete, still an athlete. I've always been, but but yeah, I was driving my car, and as a 20-year-old kid, we were partying at a club with my friends, and we were on our way home, and some car passed by shooting, and then we got caught up in that, and that was it's almost 15 years ago. I turned 35 yesterday.
I know. Happy birthday
Happy
yesterday.
Thank
birthday.
you. So yeah, I was 20, and now I'm 35, and I'm good.
Just
Wow, that's incredible.
amazing story.
Yes, and to take, something that is a very traumatic thing and just evolve your life into something that was, more beautiful than what you had before is absolutely admirable. And, not living in that victim mentality, as you have every right to, but you just chose not to do that and keep pushing forward. And I love that.
Yeah, thanks. I don't think anybody has the right to. I mean, you have the decision, and you would say I have the right to be a victim because you can see my wheelchair, but I'm sure any of you guys and anybody in the world has faced even tougher situations. You have people thinking of committing suicide. You have people going through divorces. You have people just got fired and from their job and stuff like that. So mine is not necessarily different. It's just different because you can see it. You can see it. Well, so you can see it right now. So if I don't say anything, you don't know um, that I'm in a wheelchair, right? So it's we never see what's in somebody else's mind. So I don't think anybody's entitled to feel or be a victim. It's just a choice, and it's an easy choice because people want attention and people like to complain. So I don't have the right to it. It's just you're either strong or you're weak, and a lot of people are weak, and it's what it is, right? So
I'm calling it now. My next book collaboration's with this guy right here.
With Ricardo, laying it on
We're writing the
thick. I
book
love it.
together because I'm very straightforward like that too. Like
Yeah.
get up,
Yeah.
like get
Mhm.
up and move forward. Is very much. If you had a chance to read my book, it's very much like that. Like get up, come
Yeah.
on. And I think our motto, Brittany, I always like, hey, we kind of touched on like we're all going through shit.
Mhm.
We're not
Yeah.
going through the same shit. We're all going through our own shit. But I guarantee you, we're all going through shit, which is kind of what you said. You could just see my wheelchair, but I guarantee you've got your own issues.
Absolutely.
And you're right. And it's spot on. Yeah. Just because you can't necessarily physically see what we're all hanging on to and struggling with is a good point to make.
Mhm.
So you said from the beginning you've kind of had this positive mindset. Do you ever have moments where you kind of get down on your luck or frustrated or anything like that?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I think we all do. It's especially when you're a competitor, right? You get
Mhm.
frustrated because you want this, you want that, you want to accomplish, you want to grow, you want a quick success or results, and you want to beat a competition where they're like right now I'm all into my online business, right? So I want things to happen quick, and I understand there's a process, but you always want to win, you always want to be ahead. And so sometimes, yeah, you get frustrated. Sometimes you don't want to get up in the morning, you don't want to get to work. And or even with sports, right? When you're playing sports, when I'm playing wheelchair basketball, we're losing, things are not going right, you go through all of that because that's human emotions, and we all have them. It's just how we respond to those emotions and what do you do about them. If you use them as a setback, or if you use them as fuel to grow and to say, hey, I'm not comfortable with this, I don't like this situation, let me go and change it. So yeah, we all go through that.
I love that. Okay. And then, so you had mentioned, how important your support system was, which absolutely, we've got a few episodes actually on support systems and how critical they are, especially through life's transgressions. So you moved here.
Mhm.
Do you have a good support system now in the Kansas City area?
I do, yes. The reason I moved here is because when I finished my education in Texas, when I graduated from University of Texas, Arlington.
Hook'em Horns. Oh, UTA. I went to
UTA,
UTA.
UTA, yeah. You
I
lived in
started
Dallas, right?
college at university. Yeah, I started college at UTA, University of
Okay,
Texas at Arlington.
nice. Well, yeah, that's where I played, right? So
Ah, small world.
that's where I played. And so when I finished there, I graduated. Now I needed somebody who was willing to sponsor my work visa, right? So I had an offer from a company here, and then I moved here to Kansas City. So the reason why I chose Kansas City, because I had a couple of other offers, is because the Kansas City wheelchair basketball team reached out to me and they wanted me to play for them. So it was perfect because I had a wheelchair basketball Division 1 level team that wanted me to come here because I find it hard for me to be anywhere that there's not wheelchair basketball or adaptive sports programs, right? So it was pretty good, and those people became they were strangers, it turned into friends, eventually into family. So I have a very nice support of uh, friends. I also have a very, very close friend. She is from Venezuela. We used to be friends. We've been friends since we were like 16 years old in Venezuela. And eventually I
Oh,
moved to
She's here now.
Miami. She was in North Carolina or something like that. She ended up moving here 3 weeks before I did. So go figure. I just checked Instagram. She had posted she was in the Kansas City Zoo, and and I was like, "Are you living there now?" He's like, "Well, I just moved," and I told her I'm moving there in 3 weeks. So it was
I
very nice. So
love
she
that. The
felt so
wow.
stars aligned yet again.
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty good support system. Her husband is amazing, also one of my best friends as well. So it's really good. And my family, even though they're back home, we always talk every single day, and yeah, it's always been a great support system for me. So I'm very blessed because sometimes you get lucky in life, and I got lucky with that. I mean, that's not something that I worked for. It's
Mhm.
just you're blessed to be born in certain families, and sometimes you're not. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. This mentality that you have is so incredible, but did you have someone in your life that inspired you to have these beliefs?
Yes, plenty of people. I think my mom and my dad, they both are people who always told me I could be whoever I wanted to be. They never imposed anything as saying, hey, you have to study this, or you have to play this sport, or you have to do this. They let me make my decisions. And there are people who are also entrepreneurial in their own way. And they just are people who are authentic, and they don't care what other people think about them, and that, I think, obviously translated into me and my brother, right? My brother is that way too. He's pretty unique. He's a special. He's a loving human being who he does his own thing. He's successful, and he just doesn't care about being a victim at all, or anything. So I've been surrounded by great people. So I would say, yeah, them and most of my family for sure.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's kind of another reoccurring theme we've touched on a few episodes is being just your real authentic self.
Yeah.
And that's a theme we our guests have definitely brought up. Is just being, who you are, not being sorry for it. Yeah, this is who I am, and I hear that a lot from you. Like, this is who I am, and I'm gonna rock it out, and I'm gonna live this life, and I'm gonna enjoy this life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That level of acceptance.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yes. How did you feel, circling back to when you came to Miami, right? You come to Miami and you're motivated and you want to prove these doctors wrong and this and that. Kind of like, um, how did you feel like when you weren't able to quote unquote prove the doctors wrong, physically, not, mentally or mindset, but, physically, how did you kind of work through that?
Well, I didn't really feel it. Like, it was a transition that happened slowly, but it was kind of sudden at the same time. It's weird to describe, but at some point I realized that I didn't need to walk again, and I realized that I was in Miami. I was happy. I learned a different language. I was living on my own. I was driving my own car. I had my own apartment there. I was finally independent. I had a nice group of friends there. I was partying in Miami. At that point, I was 21, 22 years old, living in Miami Beach. So I was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Your face is telling us a lot.
Yes,
That
the smile.
I'm
So,
seeing a lot of happy memories here
oh
Yes.
on the
yeah,
face.
it was perfect timing, and it's that's what it was, right? I was playing basketball, I was doing all this thing, and I was feeling very happy, like always, and feeling free. And then I was independent. I think one of the things that I thought walking again was gonna make me independent, and it wasn't that. It was just me becoming independent, no matter circumstances. So,
Mhm.
living a life where everything was back to normal. Um, yeah, it would, like, I wanted this goal and I got all the way up there. That's what happened to me. So
Fantastic.
walking again was not relevant to me at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, just, I guess that goal ended up being short and small and pretty much irrelevant at some point.
Yep. So you just realigned your goals. On
Mhm.
to the next thing. Next. Yeah. So I thought, whatever, you travel a lot. A
Yes.
lot. I mean, internationally, by the way, you're and I finally get you down. What do you travel for? I mean, just I love it, and I live vicariously through your videos and your posts. But is this just for fun? Is this leisure? Is this work? Give me the deets on this.
So cool, yeah, I like it. I've always loved traveling, and I've always loved cultures and learning, and just being in different countries is something that makes me feel special, because it kind of forces you to learn and to grow mentally and to become more intelligent. And it also it puts you in a place where you are now the different guy, and you're now
Mhm.
the different person. Now you are um, the one who doesn't know the language or the culture or the directions or the behaviors and stuff like that. That's one part that I really enjoy, because it helps you grow as a human being. Also, the different landscapes and the different architecture and histories and different countries as well, is something that I've always been fascinated with. And right now I've been doing it lately much more, because ever since I left the corporate world in America and I started my own online business, then I can do that from anywhere, right? And that's
Yeah.
what
Okay.
the online era allows you to do. So I've been fortunate enough to be able to create different teams in 8 different countries, and just travel for maybe work, right? But I'm doing what I love to, and say we have events in different countries, so I stay a whole week or two and do a couple of days events, and so it's both. So yeah.
What is your company? What do you guys do?
So what I do is I help people make money from their cell phones, right? And what I mean by that, we use different financial markets for people to be able to go into those and follow professionals and learn how to invest, learn how to multiply capital, learn how to create residual income. So I partnered up with this company, and then we show people how to do that, build teams and communities around that, and just connect with the service that we all use in order to create that, right? So it's been great. And one of the things that I love about that is when I've been seeing somebody pretty much every day on Zoom, right, for a year, and then we're traveling to Europe, say, and then we get to meet each other in person. It's like, wow, like that's also
That's
something
really
pretty cool.
cool.
It's a cool
Yeah.
Yeah.
experience. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Very neat.
But this incident didn't slow Ricardo down at all. I mean,
No.
at all. Like you're traveling more than the average person. You're
Yeah.
going more places. You're living
Mhm.
life to the fullest. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's one of your favorite places that you've traveled to?
Um, I want to say like I enjoy a lot of places. One of the recent ones that I've been there twice is Budapest in Hungary. It's
Mhm.
such a beautiful city. It's amazing. I recommend anybody and everybody to go there. It's not expensive. There's a lot of tourism. There's a lot of history. The city is just beautiful, and the culture is very fascinating as well. So it's a place that I like a lot.
To
Um,
Budapest.
and yeah, it's interesting when you get there and you see all these letters and words you can even read, and you're like, wow, what I do now. And but then people are welcoming, and it's just a beautiful city. I've read somewhere that is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. That's obviously very subjective, right? I mean, anybody can have their own opinion, but I was there and I was pretty amazed. I was there in February this year, actually. So,
I told
um,
you I live vicariously through these videos. Like,
Right.
wow. It's
Wow.
fantastic.
Yeah, the thing I love about Ricardo is like you think he's amazing, and then you're like, oh wow, that's awesome. And then here he comes pulling something else out of his bag. Like, here I am.
But wait, there's more.
Wait. And then not only is he traveling, but you can hear the gratitude he
Yeah.
has
Mhm.
about traveling and the
Mm.
appreciation of all these, all these different cultures and the things that he gains from that. I have so much respect for your mindset, and thank you so much for being on here with us today, because people really need to hear that and get a little bit of Ricardo in their life.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
I think so. Yeah, I agree with that. You kind of have this perspective that um, I could tell you the majority of Americans don't have.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
I've
maybe,
noticed.
yeah, we don't, we do, the majority do not. And when somebody does, it's a big deal.
Mhm.
So, and then, very much, we have another guest who had said something very similar, that his best successes came immediately after failures. And I'm not saying what happened was a failure, but it's kind of that, that mindset that something maybe that happens that maybe some people would think as a setbacks actually propelled them into
Mhm.
this greater beautiful life. So it's kind of that same idea of
Yeah.
just hold on, this might not be that big of a deal, or this might make my life 10 times better.
I
Yeah.
think this
No,
group.
and I like that a lot because one of the things that when I talk to people, from my team and in business and everything, I tell them, hey, if when I look back, and I'm sure if you do the same thing, if you look back at your toughest moments and your hardest situations you faced, it's always been the setup for the best moments in your life and the life you've created because of facing those adversities. So that happened to me when I was shot. Obviously, super tough moment for me, for my family, and made me be who I am today. Also, the reason why I started what I do today with online businesses is because I lost my job in 2020 during the pandemic. So the pandemic hit, the company I was working for had to shut down, and I started getting in debt. I started, going through a very tough situation, and that led me to be where I am today, where I don't have a boss of an office or anything or schedule or anything like that. I just have my freedom because of online businesses that I would never have achieved if I had stayed working and being comfortable with the situation that I was in. So I know now that if something hard or tough happens today, tomorrow, I can accept it, and I can actually, this kind of sound weird, but I can actually be excited about that because I know when I overcome it, then I'll have much more, and I will accomplish much more than I would have if that hadn't happened. So
To get him on a TED Talk.
Yes.
Let's do a TED Talk.
Get excited.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Love
So at the
that.
time, the pandemic, you lost your job, you're in debt, things are feeling heavy. And now you're sitting here and you're like, yeah, Budapest is so beautiful. Like,
Yes.
what? The universe comes in again. Like, yes. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, what would you say to, I mean, I think that you've had quite a few experiences in your life where you've overcome things and things have turned out better for you. And it seems like you have, a lot of faith just based off of your experiences where it's worked out. But what would you say to someone who hasn't always had things work out for them and doesn't have that belief that things might be better for them on the other side?
So I would tell that person, hey, it's your choice to believe what you want to believe. So if it's your choice, what do you really want? And when you figure out what you want, because people don't have what they want because they don't know what they want. That right? If you ask people, hey, what do you really want? They don't even know what to tell you. Like, oh, I don't know, more money, or I want to be healthy. Yeah, okay, what's more money? $1, 1,000, 100,000? I don't know. What's healthy to you? What's your financial freedom? What's your independence? What is whatever that person's wanting to accomplish? So I'd say, hey, just have a goal, know what it is, know exactly what it is, know why you want to accomplish that, know why you really want to get out of that situation, and also be honest with yourself. Do you really want to get out of that situation, or you feel comfortable being uncomfortable? Like, are you a victim and you like the attention you're getting from people who feel pettiness for you? Or and then when people have that figured out, it says just get to work, right? Everybody can accomplish and overcome anything. Some people have advantages and stuff like that. Just like I had a really good family, I had that going on for me. But when I moved to the US, I didn't even know the language. I was in a wheelchair. I was dependent on somebody else taking care of me. So I had that against me, but I made it work. So if I did it, anybody can do it, because we all have the same potential. We're all humans, right? So I would tell the person, just make a decision and commit to it based on what you really want, and just take action. Also know why you're doing what you want to do. So that's what I would tell the person.
Yeah, knowing your why. When you're at the bottom or you're depressed and you're at a really bad place, being able to grasp onto that why really kind of helps propels you out, I feel like. So yeah, make sure you know a why and you have a why, and I think that helps you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're kind of lost, right? You're in this limbo, like you said, like, well, I want more money, but I don't know how much. I want to be healthy, but what does that look like? I want to move, but I don't know where to. You haven't narrowed it in yet.
Yeah.
So I think that's
sure.
super important. Absolutely. Great advice.
Yeah. Well, speaking of advice, what would you say to someone, not necessarily someone that's wheelchair bound, but just going through a tough time? What would your advice be to them?
It won't last forever. I mean, it's not gonna last forever. So I've noticed that when things happen, you have ups and downs, and you said you feel bad or whatever the case may be, but eventually it's just gonna pass, because nothing lasts forever. So as long as you don't quit, you'll succeed, and as long as you don't give up, then you just gotta go through it, right? And then know your why, know your goal, know where you want to be at, and understand that. And I always compare it to, say you get sick, you get the flu or something like that. The flu is not gonna last forever. You're gonna feel like shit the first day, probably. Then eventually you feel better, and you know that overnight, when the next day you feel worse when you thought it was over. But every step, every single day is one day closer to be 100% healthy. So it's the same thing with pretty much anything in life, if you decided to be, if you don't get stuck in the process. So I would tell them, hey, it won't last forever. Get to it, have a powerful reason, and take action to whatever you want to get to.
That's good stuff. Agree.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
I love it. And actually, I had the flu a couple weeks ago.
And it seemed to last forever.
It seems like it was forever, but it didn't last forever. It was a
There you
good
go.
solid 4 days, and I was, coming out of the thick of it. So
Yeah.
Brittany's like, I could totally relate to that.
it's like
That's
I love
perfect
you.
then.
The food analogy. It's
Fantastic.
too soon, Ricardo. Too soon.
Well, this is great. This is really good stuff.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you hopping on. Your story is inspiring,
Mhm.
to say the least. I'd love to see, keep an eye on you and see you branch out and really help people with your mindset that you have, because it is rare here, and it's a gift. You may think it's just normal on how you were raised, but I'm just gonna, it's a gift the way that you think, and you can take these experiences and make them positives. Whether we all carry that gift and we haven't utilized it yet, you're utilizing it. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. And where can we find you? Where can we see Ricardo in action and playing basketball or with your company? Where where is Ricardo?
So I'm mostly on Instagram, and it's Ricardo Lucien 35, like all together.
Mhm.
And Ricardo Lucien on Facebook. Then I'll be mostly on those two as far as social media goes. And so yeah, it's that's how you reach me, and you can message me, and I'll reply, and then I love connecting with people anyway. So that's something pretty cool. Get to know people, connect, and get to know stories, and interchange life experiences. So yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Shalane says she follows you on
Yeah.
social media and that
Mhm.
you post wonderful, inspiring posts.
Yeah.
So definitely encourage our listeners to hop on and follow Ricardo.
Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, I always post there, and I like sharing because I know it's gonna help somebody at some point, right? So if I can help one person out of 1,000, then I'll be happy. So that's what it's all about for me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for hopping on with us today. You're fantastic. Your story is going to sit with myself and everyone else, I think, for quite a while. So we really appreciate having you.
Yes. Thank
For
you
sure.
so much, Ricardo.
No, thank you guys. It was a pleasure being here, and looking forward to the next one.